So it's very important to understand what these different programs are attempting to do. In order to understand that, we have to have a little bit of a background on the different brainwave states. Our target frequencies are brainwave states. So we can look at this little piece of paper here, and you can go online and you can search and find very similar information with a quick Google image search of brainwave states. So we'll start at the bottom with delta waves. Delta waves resonate between 0.5 and 3 hertz, and they correlate with states of deep sleep, and I like to think of those as where we get our deeply restorative sleep, when we get into that phase of brainwave. But they're also, it's a dreamless state, it's automatic healing, and it boosts immune system function. Slightly above that, in the frequency range of 4 to 7 hertz, we get into the theta states. Theta is where you do your deep meditation. It's where you do your dreaming. It's associated with memory, vivid visual imagery, and REM sleep. So slightly above that, we get into our alpha state. Alpha is deep, relaxed consciousness. This is a state, if you're at the lower end of this state, in the 7 hertz or 8 hertz phase of this state, you are aware that someone has come into the room, but you're probably not going to bother opening up your eyes and saying hello and greeting that person. So it's a deeply relaxed state. It's a good state for super learning. And at about 10 hertz, it's a wildly creative state. So it's a place where you can access a lot of your creative thinking. And then above that, we have the beta states. Beta has the broadest bandwidth. So beta goes all the way from 12 hertz up to 30 hertz. Above 30 hertz, you get into gamma, and I'm not here to turn anyone into the Hulk. We don't want to expose people to gamma waves because it's too much stress and it's too much fight or flight on the body. In fact, we never even get up to even close to 30 hertz with an audiovisual entrainment unit. So at 12 to 30 hertz, we go from focused concentration without a lot of stress at 12 hertz to very focused and perhaps even a little bit of anxiety when we're getting up into those high 20s. There is a particular bandwidth within the beta continuum that is been given its own name, and it's called the sensory motor rhythm, or SMR state. You'll see it listed in your operator's manual frequently as SMR. So SMR stands for sensory motor rhythm. The sensory motor rhythm are frequencies 12, 13, 14, and 15 hertz, and they're the ideal state for your child to be in when they're walking into the classroom, or they're the ideal state for you to be in when you're walking into a boardroom, or you've got an important meeting, or you simply need to be focused and get through some paperwork like your taxes. So 12 to 15 hertz, very special. It's focused, alert concentration without any undue stress. And we use sensory motor rhythms a lot with kids who have symptoms of ADD, ADHD, or even trauma. It seems to be a really good frequency to put kids in who have attachment and bonding disorders, such as reactive attachment disorder, or just simply have a history of trauma. They seem to respond very well to that state. And just a few words about that before we move on to how to operate an audiovisual entrainment machine. We have to remember that when you're putting someone on an audiovisual entrainment device and you are trying to decide which brainwave state you are trying to encourage and coax that person towards, we have to understand that everything is relative. So if we have someone who is super stressed out and hypervigilant because they have an attachment and bonding disorder, or because they've got some other huge stress that's taking place in their life, they may not be capable of making the jump to go all the way down to a theta state or an alpha state. We may just have to lower them on the beta state. So if they're functioning at a high 20, bringing them down to 12 or 15 is going to feel super relaxing to that individual. Where if we have another, we'll use a child in this example, who has inattentive attention deficit disorder, so they're thinking about building sandcastles in the sky, or they're thinking about a Lego project that they want to work on when they get home, or what have you, those kids tend to be at 10 hertz. So if we bring them up to 12 to 15 hertz, that's going to be stimulating to that child. So the same program can be relaxing to one person and yet be stimulating to another person. So we want to keep what the person's profile is in mind when we're selecting a program, and we don't want to ask their brain to make too big of a jump.